Hello, my name's Dr. Kate Ringham and I'm the Programme Lead in Applied Accounting at Oxford Brookes University. The aim of this video is to look at the aims and objectives that you include in the research report. The research report is part of the Research and Analysis project, which is part of the BSc Applied Accounting. So in terms of the research aim or question, you're seeking here to identify the overarching aim of your research. What do you want to achieve? It must link to one of the 20 topics that are in the information pack. The information pack is available either from Oxford Brookes website or from the ACCA website. Please do make sure you're using the up-to-date version of the information pack to make sure you've got the most current information. The objectives are much more specific goals to support the aim. The phrase research aim, research question can be used interchangeably. My preference is research aim. And we are often asked, how many research aims or questions do I need to include? Well, I would suggest you are looking for one overarching aim. You might consider two, but you really are looking here to identify the focus of what you are doing. So if you consider more research questions or research aims, you're unlikely to have sufficient time or word count to consider these in sufficient depth. So you're really thinking about summarizing exactly what you're seeking to do. So if I could just show you an example, topic 1, as I've taken from the information pack, an analysis and evaluation of an organisation's budgetary control system and its links with performance management and decision making. So that's the topic, that's the area that you're thinking about. You might phrase that as an aim by saying we've got an evaluation of managers' use of a company, ABC & Co.'s budgetary processes in performance management and decision making. Now the fact that you're in this aim saying you're going to evaluate the manager's use of ABC's budgetary processes, that is indicating that you're going to be using primary data, because to evaluate the manager's use you must have access to managers and the way that they actually engage in the budgetary process. So in writing your aim, you are also beginning to explain to the reader how you're going to be tackling your research. The research objectives then explain in more detail how you're going to achieve the aim. So if we look at that aim of an evaluation of managers' use of AB and C Co.'s budgetary processes, we can see we can break those down into objectives. The first objective there, so evaluate the nature of the budgetary process. That's where you're going to be thinking about your knowledge. What are budgets? How do you create budgets? What are the types of budgeting processes? Now that might be top-down, incremental, zero-based. That's where you're using your knowledge, your theory, and possibly you might use frameworks if it was a different topic. And then you analyse the advantages and disadvantages of this approach at A, B and C Co. So in thinking about advantages and disadvantages, you're automatically moving into that space that is analysis and evaluation. So you've taken, in the first objective, identifying the area of theory that you're looking at. In the second objective, you're evaluating that theory. And then in the third objective, investigate managers' views, you're actually collecting information. That's where you're going to be doing some primary data collection to think about what those, whether the managers agree that what the theory says in terms of advantages and disadvantages is actually true. And then you may be in a position to be able to make recommendations. So as you can see in that example, the objectives are the way that you break down your aim and demonstrate how you're going to achieve your aim. And it usually follows a flow of thinking about the theory, evaluating the theory, collecting data and analysing data relating to that theory and coming to some sort of conclusion. How many research objectives? Well, this does really depend on your topic and your research aim or question. I would suggest that if you're writing more than 6 objectives, you're going to find that very difficult to achieve. So if you're trying to write more than 6, you're either trying to write your objectives in too much detail, you're including too many steps, or you're actually trying to write a project that is too big. It's too difficult to achieve in the time. In terms of tips, top tips for aims and objectives, keep them focused, think about what's possible and realistic, be specific so that it's very clear what you're going to be doing, and think about what's achievable in the time frame. Just a thought, these are not personal aims or goals. So the aims and objectives are not to complete the degree and graduate, to improve your IT skills, to enhance your job opportunities, etc. This is about the aims and objectives of the research. When you're thinking about your personal goals, that's where you might be keeping reflections for your skills and learning statement. So please don't forget, as you're starting work on your research report, to keep notes for your skills and learning statements. So the next steps, you might wish to consider discussing the aim and objectives with your mentor, and then you might be thinking about what sort of data do you need, is it primary or secondary, what are the business models or frameworks you can use, and then think about guidance on the possible structure of your research report, and there is information about that in the information pack. You will find videos about types of data, business models and frameworks in the channel, so please do subscribe to make sure you know when the next videos are being released.